let's discuss what we've got so far. So in our first story, you digest some food and absorb the glucose. So what's our stimulus?
Glucose.
Yeah, the increased glucose in the blood. So your pancreas can't detect that you're digesting food, it just knows that there's more sugar in the blood. So who's our receptor and control center? Yeah, the beta cells in the pancreas. How do they transmit a message? With insulin. Who are the effectors that receive the message? Yeah, liver, muscle, and adipose tissue. And then what's the response? Yeah, they store the glucose, which lowers the blood levels. And that takes us back to normal. And I meant to go through 2 more slides before we actually did that, but hopefully this will still be useful. A general procedure for solving critical thinking puzzles is abbreviated as SMART. Each letter stands for a thing you'll do. S is summarize known and unknown. So what information do I have? In front of you, you have that story. What do I need to get? I need to match it up with this. So I need to figure out, okay, the stimulus is something that changed. What changed in this story? Make connections. Get from what you know to what you need to know. Avoid distractors. For example, digesting the food is a distractor. It causes the stimulus, but it isn't the stimulus. You'll see this a lot in clinical situations where somebody has a selection of symptoms and maybe some of them are unrelated to the main problem. Reread the question, so make sure you're clear on what you need to find out, and then thoroughly answer. So what we did was match up the story with stimulus, receptor and control center, the messaging, the effector, and the response. Now, once we're on to cardiovascular, we're going to see a lot where the rest of the book, we're going to see a lot where the receptor and control center are separate structures. We'll have a lot of nerves as receptors again. As you probably know, things don't always work quite right in the body. 2 major problems with hormone secretion are making too much or not making enough. Not enough of the hormone is called hyposecretion. That's a problem because you can't maintain its effects. Type 1 diabetes mellitus is probably the most common example. Type 2 is more common than type 1, but it sometimes ends up with not making enough insulin. Hypothyroidism, not enough thyroid hormone. Too much of the hormone is hypersecretion. There's 2 reasons this can be bad. One is that it upsets homeostasis. So you overdo it trying to fix the stimulus and you send things off in the wrong direction. If you had too much insulin, your blood glucose would go down too low, and then you wouldn't have enough energy getting to your cells in general. 2 examples are Graves' disease, which stimulates too much thyroid hormone, and Cushing's disease, which is too much of a steroid hormone called cortisol. There's a lot of different hypo and hypersecretion disorders out there, and any of those would be good for a research paper if you wanted to do one. Any questions on hormone regulation and hormone problems? So from here we'll get into the specific glands. These are what's usually considered part of the endocrine system. Often the hypothalamus is left off this list and just considered part of the nervous system, but as we saw, it does secrete hormones. The pituitary and pineal glands are also in the brain, but they don't generally do much neural processing. What they do is tied to whether they secrete their hormone or not. In the neck, we have the thyroid and parathyroid glands. In the chest is the thymus. Upper abdominal cavity, we have adrenal glands and the pancreas. And then the gonads, ovaries and testes, in the pelvic cavity or outside the body. Several of these are also organs of another system. The thymus is also lymphatic, pancreas is also digestive, gonads, of course, are also reproductive. You want to take a break now or do the hypothalamus first? We'll do the hypothalamus. So this is a sagittal section of the human brain. You can see the pineal here, pituitary down here, hypothalamus. So it's part of the diencephalon, that little cluster right in the center. Its big job is to regulate homeostasis, and it does some of that through nerve signals and some through hormones that control the pituitary. Now, there's a lot for the pituitary, so let's go ahead and take a break now.